It's nice when we have a show that's completely not controversial in any way and just people can watch it and enjoy it and we can talk about it and nobody gets upset and there's just sorry. Um yeah, Rings of Power has been interesting to say the least. Like really interesting, especially from my standpoint where I'm like I'm not even sure like who this story is for. Like who is this show made for? I'm still confused. But I was hoping that episode 3 of Rings of Power would clear that up. Hmm. In Rings of Power episode 3, Arondir finds himself a captive. Galadriel and Halbrand explore a legendary kingdom. Nori faces consequences for her decisions, and some other things happen. Even in the synopsis for this episode on IMDb, there are spoilers. At least what would have been spoilers for me. So, look, going forward, it's going to be really, really difficult to talk about this show without getting into spoilers. So just keep that in mind going forward. Hopefully, we can use these videos to sort of open up that dialogue about what we think of these episodes, and yeah, it'll be fun that way. So I want to talk about the things that I guess the things that didn't work for me first. Really, the biggest thing is the Nori and the Harfoots sort of whole sequence. I'm just not attached to any of these characters. In fact, they almost seem they're so uninteresting compared to the rest of what's going on. There's like four threads going on right now, four story threads, and this is the least interesting one. But what's going on is that the Harfoots are going to move, and the stranger basically is discovered, and Nori's helping him is discovered as well. So her family is worried about being left behind as they're doing this migration, and the stranger helps them along. And I'm just seriously, I'm sitting here going, I'm not drawn to these characters. They're fine. There's nothing like, I don't hate it. I just don't care, which is almost worse in a way. So we finally figure out what's happened to Arondir. He's been captured along with the other elves that he's been working with by these orcs, this group of orcs that are basically digging these trenches so that they can travel easily during the daytime. Of course, the Uruk-hai created by Saruman, those are sort of like a breed of orcs that can travel in the sunlight with no like issues. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Both of the other elves that we had met so far, they've been killed, and Arondir's the only one left. And of course, they're talking about the orcs. I mean, they're talking about this master of theirs called Adar, which may be another name for Sauron. All kind of interesting, at least more interesting to me than the Harfoots, but still, I'm kind of like, just get on with it. I almost feel like one of the things that might have helped is if they quit, cutting between all these different story threads and just maybe spend an episode with Arondir so we can get more story at once so that we're not left guessing almost to the point of not caring to what's going on and what's going to happen next. Then to me, probably the most interesting part of the episode was following Galadriel and Halbrand. They've been picked up by Númenóreans, which it's the first time that we've seen Númenor in any way, shape, or form. And wow, it is gorgeous. It is beautiful. Very, very well done. Very impressed. But still, look, Galadriel's just not that likable. And that's a big problem. I don't, and maybe it's because we haven't spent enough time with her, and the time that we do spend with her, she's so serious and almost has no common sense about how to treat other people, or races or whatever. Like has no couth, like whatsoever. Like, come on, don't insult the people that just saved your lives in front of like, I don't know. It was kind of annoying, and you would think that after all of these years, I mean, she is an elf after all, that she would have some common sense about how to deal with other races of beings. I don't know. I that's annoying to me. Halbrand, on the other, side of the coin, he's actually very likable. Like I've grown to like him more in this episode than Galadriel has given me in the last three. So just in this episode, I kind of got a little bit more about who this guy is, character wise, like in the inside. And he's kind of an interesting character. But at the very end, we learn that supposedly he's like the king of the South or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I guess because we've never spent any time with the people of the South, really, in anything, it's kind of hard for me to be excited or interested because Halbrand was created for this series. He's not something that comes from Tolkien, so it's kind of like, okay, another king. I'm okay. Let's see where we go here. I had a thought that this guy was going to be important, and from the trailers and everything, the way that he shot and all that, I was like, this guy's important. Let's see who this guy is. I was thinking, yeah, this is going to be maybe sort of like someone in the line of kings, right? Someone maybe like great 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 grandfather of Elendil or something like that. No, it just turns out it's Elendil. It's him. He's this is where we are. And we meet his daughter Arian and his son Isildur. So Isildur is the one that actually ends up cutting the One Ring off of Sauron at the beginning of Fellowship of the Ring. So, wow, we're really close to the Third Age here. This has got to be the tail end of the Second Age. In the description below, I'm going to have a video done by Nerd of the Rings about the story, basically, of Sauron in the Second Age. Now, he compiled this based on the available writings. Now, when you watch this, you're going to go, okay, I'm getting some of the characters that we've already met in Rings of Power, but wow, there's a lot that needs to be covered. It's weird because there's not that much room in the appendices about this, but there is a lot of things that transpires before we get to the last alliance of the men and elves, that final battle where Sauron is defeated, at least for an extended period of time. So I just don't understand what their goal is here. There's a lot to be covered. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm a little weary of this show at this point because we've got like 4 different story threads going on, right? We've got the Harfoots, we've got Galadriel and Halbrand and Elendil now. We've got Arondir and Bronwyn, I assume, and Theo, right? Her son. I think all that's going to come back into the story. And then the final one was Elrond and Durin, and I assume Celebrimbor will be in there too. But so you've got these 4 different threads, one of which we didn't even see this week. We're sitting here looking at this, and I gotta say, I'm kind of bored. It's kind of a weird thing. It's like I'm interested in watching the show, but it's not like, man, I'm excited to watch this show. It's more like, okay, what are they gonna do? And it's a weird feeling that I keep having where it's like, I'm not sure that if I wasn't into Tolkien, I probably wouldn't be watching this show. The weird thing is for me is like I'm watching this kind of like with 2 parts of my brain, right? There's the Tolkien fan, the guy that's like super into Tolkien and the world and Middle Earth and all that stuff. And yeah, I'm totally going to watch all of this series. And then there's this other part of me that's like, I can't, like this other part of me is going, man, this isn't great. This isn't well done. I feel like that's their biggest thing. They keep splitting these threads apart and jumping in between them when it's like we need more time with each one of them to actually get into their story and be invested in what's going on. We're just not getting that. And so I don't know how to feel about it. So yeah, I'm kind of curious. For those of you who have seen Rings of Power episodes 1 through 3, how are you feeling about this show so far? Are you in? Are you, like, we've got eight episodes total, and we're almost halfway through the season, which is kind of crazy when you think about that. How are you feeling about this show? Are you like me and you're still like, I almost feel obligated because I'm a Tolkien fan, but at the same time, I'm this, and I want to know what you're feeling because I'm all over the place, as you can probably tell. But yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. So thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.